What's up guys, welcome to today's XPG video. Today we're going to build a full XPG build from scratch, and we're going to talk about all the individual products that I have right here on the table, but we have one more product that didn't fit here. So we have the XPG Valor Air case, and all of this will be placed inside that build, including of course the main components as the GPU, CPU and motherboard. So let's start with the most random parts. We have fans here which aren't that random. So we have Hurricane 140 and Vento 120. They're all three addressable RGB, but Hurricane 140 are PWM. When we're talking about some quick specifications, the standard dimensions, the thickness is 25 millimeters. It has fluid dynamic bearing, 4-pin PWM header and 3-pin 5 volts for addressable RGB. The speeds are going from 700 to 1800 RPMs. Maximum airflow is 91 CFM and maximum noise level is 28.1 decibels, which is outstanding. And mean time before failure is 230,000 hours. Basically what we have here are three outstanding fans, depending on what you're looking and checking out. But with these short specifications, I think you can consider these as well for your future build, for instance. Now right here we have the Gammix 1TB S70 blade, which is Gen 4x4 M.2 2280 SSD, and it has a passive heatsink which is optional, I would say, because you can place it on or you don't have to place it on, depending on do you have a passive heatsink or motherboard already or you don't. So this will be quite interesting to check out the speeds and everything, even though we already did a review on this one, but I'm going to do that on a new generation of motherboards. Then right here we have 4 sticks of DDR5. These are Lancer DDR5 memory 4x16 at 5600 megahertz, and we'll check them out because these are CL36. We're going to run some quick benchmarks just to see the speeds and compare them to the rest that I had so far, and this will be quite interesting because they're non-RGB and they will look quite nice in the build. Right after that we have here CyberCore 1300 watts power supply, which is 80 plus platinum certified, fully modular. It's quite cool because 1300 watts for your next gen GPUs would be quite outstanding, especially when we're talking about platinum and titanium, but I think I already mentioned that in a couple of my past videos as well. Now finally we have here, let me remove all of these parts. Finally here we have XPG Levante 360 addressable RGB AIO. Now so far on this channel you've seen the 240 review and a couple of builds. Now today we're going to place this one in the Valor Air case and going to create some nice build. Finally get some results on the, of course, thermals for the AIO cooling and for the case, and speeds on the SSDs and everything else that you need to know, guys. So let's assemble this build and check it out. So this was a quite interesting build to finish and to assemble, and altogether we have quite a nice looking build. It's a tight fit, I do have to say. First of all, because the 140 on the top, actually the left one is colliding a bit with two 8-pin EPS cables, but nothing to worry about. You can always manage or just get more flexible cables. And here the 360 on front with the 140, the first one isn't touching, of course, isn't colliding or anything else, but you do need to fiddle a bit to get that space to be able to mount the 360. Of course, on any AIO we have longer tubes, like around 40 centimeters, so you need to make this kind of curve with the tubes to get the AIO pump top block fitted on your processor. Other than that, you're limited with 28 centimeters of GPU length, and basically that is it. You do get a separated hard drive cage on the side for the case, and you can basically mount it if you wish and if you need, but honestly If you're not using hard drives and if you're going exclusively with M.2 or 2.5-inch SSDs, you have loads of room for those. Now at the back you have two slots for 2.5-inch SSDs. You have nice cable management options, and on the side, on the far left side, when you're looking at from the back, you have let's say a special cable canal for 24-pin where you can mount it. The thing is, you can really reorganize the cables at the back, and as you can see from the front, only the extenders. The same thing goes from the back because it's not a high case and you have enough cable length to reorganize it nicely and basically to give you some nice idea about the case, how it will look. Now when we're talking about some benchmarks, right? These XPG RAMs went with read speeds up to 60,000 megabytes per second write, 60,800 megabytes per second write, copy 61,000 megabytes per second, latency 95.1. Then in AIDA 64 Extreme Edition with CPU, FPU, cache and system memory ticked, the CPU went up to 79 and the GPU went up to 60. I do have to mention that we are running here 13600K, which is new generation of processors, and it does kind of heat up. The same thing as 13900K and 7600X and 7900X. Now the XPG S70 Blade read speeds in Crystal Disk Mark 7 go up to 7143 megabytes per second, while the write speed go up to 5512 megabytes per second. In AutoDisk Benchmark, the read speeds go up to 6.65 gigabytes per second and the write speeds go up to 5.15 gigabytes per second. Basically, I just wanted to show you some benchmarks in terms of the speeds for the RAMs and for the SSD, and also some thermals, because we have an airflow case which comes with quite cool opening on the front. You just have to untie the screw at the bottom and push the front magnetic part and slide it upwards, and then you have a filter which is also connected magnetically, and you get access to basically attach fans, radiators or whatever you decide to place on the front. Top also has a magnetic dust filter which is fairly easy to remove, clean, and you have a possibility to mount either two 140 or two 120 fans, or maybe you could squeeze a 240 radiator at the top. At the back there's only one position possible, and that's 120 fan. At the power supply shroud we have an also possibility to place two 120mm fans, and this will give you some option for more intake, I would say, for the GPU, giving it more thermals and similar stuff. In terms of this chassis, I went with some sort of a monochromatic look with the colors, so just playing with colors, no mods. We have white, grayish and black going throughout the chassis and throughout the components, and I actually really do love the RAMs not having any lights, because the fans actually do shine quite nice, and it's really cool to have something assembled like this in some sort of a monochromatic look. So all in all, we have loads of XPG products, and this is the most that you could achieve with XPG in one build. Basically, we had the XPG Valor Air case in black. You also have it in white version. We had the Levante 360 AIO addressable RGB, which, as you can see, fits quite nicely. Then we had two 140 and one 120 addressable RGB fans that can be daisy chained completely with the whole ecosystem and connect directly to your motherboard to control the RGB. And then to power up the system, CyberCore 1300 watts, even though it's an overkill for this build, but I wanted to show you guys up to what wattages XPG has their power supplies, and I think this is the maximum that they currently are producing. And now finally we had the XPG Gammix S70 Blade, 1TB of storage and 4x16 on 5600 MHz. These are the XPG Lancer DDR5 memory non-RGB in white. And that will be all for today. A cool XPG build, that's for sure. So you can check out the links of each component that are placed inside in the description below. And finally, if you like the monochromatic look a bit with a nice dosage of, well, not RGB but a static color, you can always subscribe and hit the like button, eventually hit the notification bell so you get notified for future content, and hopefully guys I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.